What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant. Got Gary Judge here with me from Across the Park podcast, and we've got Muskie, our producer, in the studio too. Hope you've all had a boss week. Happy Friday. Smiling because we got our footy bet in last week, a nice 11-1 treble, which was, I got a few obvious messages me saying thank you, so you are welcome. Puts us well up for the season, that, by the way.
Yeah.
Great, a little 11-1 poke. So if you want the betting tips for this weekend, get signed up on Patreon. It's £1 a week. You get all access to the betting show. You get access to mine and Gary's Wednesday chats, and also you get info from Kieran Malone Properties, who talks all things properties, investments, etc. £1 a week, and we would all love your support. Right, into sport this week. We'll finish off on the footy, looking back at last weekend and a preview of this weekend. We'll start off with going around the world of other sports. What's been making a few headlines this week, our trusted producer Muskie put me on to, was nicknames. It was in the darts, wasn't it? The darts player called Bates.
Yeah,
I put that in.
Yeah, that was Gary.
Was it you, was it? Sorry.
Yeah. I'm not going to take credit for that.
Muskie, all your credit, yeah. So this guy, because I don't actually know.
Qualified for the World Championships.
And his
name's Owen Bates. So Owen Bates is qualified. You know where this is going? So he's got, all darts players have got a nickname that obviously...
Yeah, like Power Taylor.
Yeah, all that. So Owen Bates's nickname has not been allowed by the...
Probably the TV maybe or something.
Well, no, the World Darts Championship basically, or the PDC. Sorry, have said no, we're not allowing it.
Call yourself
so
master.
his nickname is the Master.
Yeah.
So Owen Master Bates.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And he's
so he's not allowed. They've said no.
They've said you're gonna have to change your nickname.
Wow.
So he said to his fans on his Twitter, "Can you just come up with a different nickname for me?"
Which got us talking about nicknames, and you said you didn't have a real nickname, did you? Like a proper nickname when you were a kid?
It was just Judgy. Do you know what I mean? I didn't really have, like, as I said to Muskie before, and he'll probably feel this pain. I used to get midget a lot because I was like dead small, like even smaller than I am now. Obviously, I haven't gone smaller, but you know, relative to people my age, because I was August born as well. I was like one of the youngest in the year.
Start giving it all excuses of why.
Mate, on February, it makes no fucking difference.
Exactly.
No. The point is, if you're 9 months and 10 months younger than people, you're also small.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Listen, I had obviously a skinhead and big ears when I was a kid, so it was just like meathead, fathead, big ears, Dumbo, and then as soon as we got to senior school and we learnt what the word meat was in Spanish, carne, and then you learnt what head was, cabeza. It was fucking carne cabeza, meathead in Spanish.
It's a private school or something. In Bootle,
you know when you just
surprised you could even speak English in Bootle alone.
No, it's just the first time you could learn any Spanish words. Well, we call him meathead. What's meathead in Spanish? Carne cabeza. But then I went on to join the Marines. Again, skinhead, big ears, really bad acne. My one in the Marines was the beekeeper's apprentice because my skin was so pocked and so marked.
Oh, okay.
I got Gizmo, from the Gremlins.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I was horrendous with them. But on the sport one, there's been some crackers. There was a lad play for Everton called Poynton. Poynton, he was left back.
Yeah.
His nickname was Disser. Because he was shite.
Disappointing. Brilliant.
That's a cracker.
Yeah, Jigsaw was the old one for Stuart Barlow, because every time we get in the box he'd fall apart. Yeah, I know Stuart Barlow as well. He's a good lad, but he's well better player than I'll ever be. But yeah, he's
Fitz always one that I always remember from being a kid. One size.
That's a cracker as well. Yeah.
Belter.
There are some absolute belters like there.
Yeah.
But you just had Judgy. How lucky were you?
Just Judgy. I mean, we were saying off air, there was a teacher in our school, the school that Muskie used to work in, the school that I went to, who used to go around the class, and if he didn't have a nickname for you, or if he hadn't ripped you at some point, it would just be his mission to find some kind of play on words with your last name. And I remember I was quite good in school. I was small and good, sort of sitting there, little teacher's pet at the front. But I was saying, I always say this, I only didn't get bullied because I was good at footy. Honestly, I think if I wasn't good at footy, I would have just been a victim to everyone. But anyway, he this one day, he just shouted at the top of his voice, and and he went, I can't remember, he said something like, "Did you write that in that book?" And I was like, "No," and he went, "I'll be the judge of that." And that was it. It was poor.
It's a proper dad joke.
Yeah, it was always dad jokes. And one of my mates, his last name's Watkinson. And I'm thinking, how's he ever going to get anything on Watkinson? And he tells this story once, right? And he goes, I need to tell you this story about the weekend. And he goes on, and literally it was going on about 5 minutes. and he was saying, I went to watch this football match, and I'm standing there, and my nephew's playing, he's playing right back, and I'm watching, and the scout comes up to me and he goes, watch him, son. I go, no, that's Watkinson. Oh my
Lad,
God.
this teacher needs, oh God. The other ones that want to see him, remember David and Go? His nickname was Wash. Wash and Go. Mesut Ozil apparently got called Avatar Eyes.
He's that big eyes.
It's a bit of a mouthful, like, innit?
Yeah.
But you got Nigel de Jong was called the Lawnmower. Yeah. The BFG for Per Mertesacker.
He's a big fella, like.
The Romford Pele Parler, I think that's quite a decent one.
Yeah.
What a boss-like thing to be known as, that is.
Yeah. So yeah, Master Bates won't be at the darts anyway.
No.
That's the main point of that story.
Send your ones in. I'm sure you got better than that. We didn't have long to prepare for that, but I'm sure loads will come to my mind as soon as we
I thought mine of the Marines are brilliant, to be fair. I mean, they weren't brilliant for me as a 17-year-old, very complex.
Nothing else to do in the Marines, is there?
Yeah.
You're just sitting around.
Just sit around and go train for war and make up nicknames and give each other shit. So we had that. In other news, we had as well this week, we touched upon it last week, the ice hockey player who is in that tragic accident. So, accident. The judge has said in his...
The coroner, is it?
The coroner, yeah, has said that he would recommend that those things we spoke about, this
neck brace
thing, should be mandatory. Whether they will or not, I don't know. Because again, like we said last week, if it disrupts your kind of play, although it's safety, it's where the whole kind of it's mad, innit?
Is it what's the word? Yeah,
it's like, it's almost saying, and it's very hard to say this after someone's just died, but it's like, do those accidents happen enough for us to really think that
it'd be done? Like, yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean? It seems mad in the context, but I guess that's going to be the decision that'll get made. You had Kevin Sinfield. I go on about him all the time, what a man he is. He's set out his new challenge, raising funds for his mate Rob Burrows. 7 ultramarathons in 7 days. Leeds, Cardiff, Birmingham, Edinburgh, Dublin, Brighton and London.
As in...
I don't know, do you know the exact mile?
An ultra is just anything
over 26, yeah.
So it could just be 27. I doubt it is, knowing him, like, but...
Absolute mental.
That's insane.
Did you see Wayne Rooney done something with Rob Burrows as well this week? He had a chat with him, and I'm not actually sure what it was up, but Rooney was saying, like, you know, how much of an inspiration he was and stuff. Didn't even know they've crossed paths. Wayne Rooney, but he was just saying, look, what an inspiration. He looked quite tearful as well. But yeah, great that more money's getting raised for Rob Burrows and the MND MND charity. You've also got this weekend the UFC, which is a monster weekend in New York, and it's our man Aspinwall who's going to be fighting. I just fucking hope he does it.
I know.
Just hope he does it.
The thing with that weight in particular as well, it's so hard to call. You can watch back at the fights and stuff and everything. I think it's a tough one at the notice he's been given.
Yeah, that's what I think.
He couldn't turn it down, could he?
Well, you say that, but I mean, it takes a strong, confident person to think, I'll turn this down because I know I'll get it down the line, because he says no, and then he might lose his next fight.
Yeah, particularly with the UFC, it turns around so quickly, doesn't it? You've got to take your chance, haven't you, when it comes in the UFC?
Hopefully he can be brilliant.
And the type of fight it is, he'll be looking to end it earlier.
Yeah,
if he can. So, not saying shouldn't matter, but there's less reliance on the preparation.
And on that as well, I mean, a massive one for us. We've got obviously Paddy in Vegas next month as well, and then Dana's come out and announced, I think January, February, March, which is Strickland against Duplessis. He's the guy who beat Till, isn't he?
Yeah,
I was at that one. That's in Jan. In February, got Volkanovski against Topera. I can never say his name. Toipora.
He can get himself back in training again, can't he?
Yeah. He's the guy again. Him and Paddy hate each other.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting one. And then March, Sean O'Malley is facing Marlon Vera. So, as again, it always does, UFC just providing some brilliant entertainment.
And again, for the downsides for some of the athletes in there and some of the fighters who maybe don't get paid as well as boxers do, or as athletes in other sports, you've got that benefit of him just going bang, 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 able to just say that this is what's happening over the next few months.
All pay-per-view as well, like.
Yeah. You can line it up. Yeah.
Brilliant. Should we go on to 40? Because I think there is a lot to unpack. We had both home and abroad.
Just one thing to briefly touch upon. I know it's not our favourite sport in the world. It's certainly not mine. It's definitely not yours. But what an absolute embarrassment that England cricket team have been.
I switch off from it. What's
They've
happened?
basically lost 8 from 9 games. 8 out of 9 games. I think
Really?
it looks like they're going to beat the Netherlands today, who are above them in the they have like 2 league tables basically, or we had 2 league tables and it comes into one. But going into today's, they were 10th out of like 11 teams or 12 teams.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
Can I just say on that note, right?
World champions. Like the equivalent of going out to the group stages in the World Cup without scoring a goal in footy.
Do you not think though, which is mad, a bit off topic, but isn't it mad how we expect so much of like the England cricket team, the England rugby team, the England football team, yet we are really a tiny little nation to pick
Doesn't
from.
matter though. No, but not a tiny.
Like
might be a tiny little nation to a lot of people though.
We batter
A lot of people with a massive infrastructure, incredible resources. You're born.
Tell Gary works in sport.
No, from a football perspective, sports perspective, every person, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2% of the more deprived children, are born with a silver spoon in the mouth. You've got the best opportunity to be as good as you can be.
You've made me just back down totally from the argument. So yeah,
Just stop it.
it's just non-redundant what I was about to say. So, and sorry, before we go into footy, I expect to see loads more headlines on Live Golf because Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy joined forces and have created their own little golf tournament kind of play, which is going to be a bit of a mix and stuff. And the swiping from one to the other already started. Tiger Woods saying that R1 is going to be a lot more simpler than Live and this and that. So just expect the fireworks to be.
Do you know what I'm half expecting as well? And this has come out of nowhere. No one just thought of it. I'm expecting Mr. Gareth Bale to somehow appear on one of these rosters.
I'm not
in terms
surprised.
of like
Great.
one of the
You've got
tournaments.
this thing, you've not noticed, where he'll say something and then a week or two later something pops up and then Muskie in our group chat goes, Gary said that about 2 weeks ago.
It just came to me then when you're talking about those 2 names and you think it doesn't get bigger than that, and it doesn't, in golf. But then if you imagine one of their things was we're going to have a wild card in there and it's going to come from someone who's maybe not a current pro. It could be an amateur on the circuit that everyone knows. It could be
them two doing that, I'm not saying Rory McIlroy is as big or as successful as Tiger Woods, but it's essentially a little bit like Ronaldo or Messi saying, you know what, let's just start our own international league.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like that, you know what I mean? It's going to be massive.
It's like 2 teams, innit, getting together, because in golf, obviously, you play as an individual, don't you, as opposed to a team. It'd be like Real Madrid and, I don't know, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich or Real Madrid and Juventus.
I suppose that's like the Super League, I guess.
Barca and Liverpool or something going, right, we're going to do something ourselves.
Be interesting to see how it goes. Really interesting. Right, in footy. Frustrating weekend, I think, for both sides, wasn't it? I was actually with you when Everton were playing. Was surprised when they went 1-0 up. Couldn't quite believe it, playing Brighton. And then I got a slap off you when I started giggling when you conceded. Is it a points gained? Or,
from watching the game back, as me and you were at the races on Saturday, I just seen the score and obviously a bit frustrated to have, on paper, thrown a lead away, and then looked at the possession and thought, well, we haven't thrown it away, it's kind of deserved. But then you watch the game back and you look at the chances and you look at the game plan, which was always going to be the same against Brighton. We were never going to go and have more possession with them. We were always going to concede possession and look to hit them on the break. We looked comfortable. They didn't really lay a glove on us. It looked like it got to the point where they'd run out of ideas and they scored a deflected goal. So two ways of looking at it. I think going into
20% possession it was.
Going into the game, you've got to say you just took a point before the game. I think I would, given the we're on a decent run of results anyway. You don't want to lose that momentum of positive results. And 2, Brighton are a good side and are further ahead in their developments by every level than we are. But having been in front and having control, I don't mean control the game as in possession. I mean control as in them not having any clear cut chances. There was only one good save to Pickford had to make, and that was from a free kick from Dunk. They haven't created a chance. So
this isn't me trying to wind you up, by the way, or try and goad you or anything, but at what point, because I know Everton fans, like, you don't want to see your club struggling, if you like, at the bottom. You want to see decent football, but at what point then do you start going, I'm not happy just having 20% of football? Or are you still in a phase where
20% possession? Our average is 42, which is still low. It's not as low as
but
that.
For example,
that's an extreme, obviously, but
yeah, but I'm saying is it a type where you can't just go, when playing against teams who are far superior, let's just be happy with the 20%? When I look at Everton, I think at what point do you just kind of go from, let's secure Premier League safety.
I think the point when you've got better players and you've got a not only a decent 11, but you've got plan B, plan C. You've got players on the bench who can come on and change a game. You've got different ways of playing. We haven't. We've only just got to a point now. Let's not forget we were still trying to stay in the league last game of last season. So I think this season was about being comfortable in the league, trying to get a system where we know we can pick up 1, 2, 3 results on the bounce, trying to set up in a way that we know we can get results against teams that are better than us, which we haven't done over the last few years, and being realistic about it. Like we're not in a position, and look at, there are still Evertonians, and there's every club has got fans that get ahead of themselves once you've won a couple of games and start thinking that we're further ahead than what we are, but we're not. The reality is we're still a team that, if you were to compile odds now on the the likelihood of teams going down, we'd be 5th or 6th on that list to go down, and that's still where we are. So
while where the league's sitting, you're 16th at the moment on 11 points. Below you are Luton and 17th on 6, but there is a 5-point gap there. Obviously Liverpool done their best to help put the pressure on Everton by letting Luton get away with a draw. I say get away with a draw. I don't think Liverpool.
Well, again, you could almost level the same thing you just levelled at me. Is it 1 point gains or is it 3 points lost?
Yeah, I think it's 3 points lost, whatever way you look at it. Don't know what you think about that, Musk, but going into the game, we actually said, I think on last week's show, Luton were only losing.
You were laughing at me because we're the only team that they beat.
I know, but to be fair, though, when they were getting beat, they were only getting beat by a single goal.
Yeah, you
at
did
home.
say that, yeah.
So I didn't think we were going to go there. I hope I didn't say that on last week's show.
You did say that?
No, I hope I didn't say that we were going to batter them.
No, you didn't. I said I can see 2-3 goals, and you said, well, to be fair, you look at the results.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I'm happy there then. So I didn't think we were going to.
Nunez could have dealt with that himself, though, couldn't he?
We'll go on to him in a minute. So 75% possession, 24 Liverpool shots, 9 for Nunez, 3 on target, 1 at the bar, 3 massive missed chances. And Salah, yeah, didn't not as much focus as he didn't really have anything.
I think Salah got lucky that Nunez had such a bad game.
Yeah,
that we've kind of overlooked. Not everyone, but quite a lot of the media and the focus on Twitter and all that's been on Nunez.
He took the headlines, didn't he?
You need Salah to be turning up in those games as well, and he didn't.
Like I say, I thought it would be a tough game, but watching it, I'm so confident again this season. Everyone's talking about Spurs and then Arsenal and City, and I just thought we're plodding along, doing really well. But that's a game you've got to get 3 points on. We've got such a bad record as well of playing against promoted sides. Yeah. Even when in the days of Benitez, when I think it was 2009, I think we got beat by Southampton and who got relegated, and so it was so frustrating. But yeah, talk on Nunez because it's 0-0 when he gets that chance from I think it was Trent put the ball into him. Was it Trent? It's the bar, doesn't he? In the first half, it's 0-0.
The worst one was where it came from Salah.
Salah misjudges a header and it falls at Nunez's feet, and it's less than 2 yards out.
And the thing is, before that, Nunez did everything right as well. The way that he's made that run to not be offside and all that kind of stuff as a forward, you go, yeah, he's done that, the harder bit, not getting caught offside and all that, and then he's just got to control that in, and he's just got to stroke it in. It's
mad, and I just wonder. Last few weeks, Liverpool have been getting results. There's been a good atmosphere around it, and all the fans are going, Captain Chaos, we love him, it's great, because Liverpool were winning, and it was a good thing. Listen, I like Nunez, but I'm just wondering, when you start getting down to the business end of the season, and you're playing those big games, you're playing City, and you need that chance to be taken, and you're only drawing against Luton when you should be winning and stuff. This Captain Chaos, we love him, he's funny, that'll start changing soon enough to he's fucking shite him. And I don't think it would stay yet. But when you get to
for some of my mates, to be fair.
Really, yeah?
Yeah, just sick of him. I think the way that a lot of my mates almost sum it up is it's the type of player you'd expect to have if you're a mid-table team where you'll score a hat-trick 1 week and then you miss 5 and you're like, okay, that's it. One of them things. Yeah. When you pay the money you've paid and as you say, the level of expectation you have playing for a championship chasing team, there's
and when you think of him and Haaland come to the Prem at the same time, similar price tags if you like, and similar expectancy of two teams fighting at the top of the table, Haaland isn't missing those chances. Do you know what I mean? He's not playing like that. He's not as erratic, and and again, he's getting away with it now because Liverpool are winning. And it's quite funny, and he's scored in one. He's missing 7, but listen, at least he's scoring. When we get to February, March, and hopefully we're in the Europa League still, maybe got the League Cup final, the League Cup, got the FA Cup going in, and we're still in the mix. And he's probably going to be playing a bit more because of squad rotation. If he's still doing that, then yeah, I'll be fuming.
Obviously, for me, a player who's in the vein that he's in and is so inconsistent should invariably just be coming off the bench and playing in Europe, and that's it. Like the impact he had against Newcastle, where it was like all instinct. It's like, look, just It seems like the more time and the more comfortable he is in a situation, the worse he does. Yeah. The more he's under the not under pressure, but if you come off the bench and it's like you've got 20 minutes to do something, it's like Sam, well, if I do something, it's a bonus. But I think if that reliance is there, and it's like, no, it's on you now. He seems to crumble. Yeah,
I think he's got to vary the way that he takes his shots as well. Like, I think he's got one way of hitting the ball, and it's just like put everything into it. Yeah. And Andy just said there about Haaland. Haaland will probably side foot that.
He hits the target, doesn't he?
At least, yeah. Whereas I think with Nunez, it's just like, I'm just going to fucking well.
Like, it's kids, he likes to try to smash it top bin every time.
What says a lot about Nunez, though, is your face straight away when we started talking. Like that face there. Listen, if we're talking about Salah next week and we've got the derby next week and we're talking about Salah, you're going, I mentioned Nunez, and you just get a little smirk.
Yeah.
Now that's when you know he's becoming a bit of a laughingstock, when your rivals are like going, fucking hell, Nunez. Like, I'm not saying he's a laughingstock in that sense, but
no, he's not Erich Meyer. Remember him? Meyer.
Fucking hell.
But it was just starting to remind him, because he got a bit of a cult following. So it was like, Erich Meyer, he's our hero. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't score goals or nothing, but
I just think your response there, I just says that kind of sums where Nunez up at the minute. He's not striking fear into the oppositions and to your rivals, thinking, oh god, they've got Nunez.
I think centre backs don't like playing against him.
Oh no, I kind of agree,
because he has got that in him to, you know, break away.
His athleticism, etc. and all that. Yeah.
And it might just be that he needs to tune up these little bits, and it could turn a corner for him. But it's getting that as he's progressing. You've got to be seeing more and more of that.
But individually, I agree with you. Defenders probably don't like playing against them. But as a team, I think teams can go in at half time. You can go, for example, lads, these need 7 chances here to score 1. Don't worry. Do you know what I mean? Give them the odd chance. And that's the kind of thing. It's individually, no doubt he's hard to play against, but
the opposition will draw confidence from
you're
not taking chances.
Yeah, exactly.
I think what's available as well kind of doesn't help that situation, because we are relying more on Nunez than we have in the past, because, you know...
Is Jota that bad?
Well, no, but now that Diaz is back, then you can kind of rotate that 3 a little bit more.
I love Jota, by the way.
I know, I was going to say, I hate him, but, you know, for that reason you love him. Yeah.
That's what I mean, straight away, the difference in saying Jota and Nunez, and your response from an Evertonian, I think that says it all. Jota's goal-scoring record, wherever he went, has been bosh, you know. I'm a big fan of Jota.
Not many things he can't do, and
he scores goals, lads.
Yeah, he links up well with the other players. He's clever, isn't he? He's aggressive in the air. Again, just from... I wouldn't say an outsider, because I'm probably the opposite of an outsider, but I think he should just be coming off the bench more often than not. Play him in Europe. You know, obviously there's enough games in that Europa League.
League Cup, Europa League, and then off the bench from in the Prem.
Yeah. The FA Cup as well. So there's plenty of games for him. He's still easy getting probably the best part of 15-20 starts there. Playing. I mean, the argument would be though, all right, play him against Luton away, wouldn't you? Because you'd think.
Yeah, that is. But and he's fucking shite for that. You had a mad Monday night game, Tottenham Chelsea. I was in the pub, and it was on in the background. I actually tweeted. So we just had a death in the family. So me and my dad was like, right, let's go for a pint, and just, you know, like you do with most things, let's just go for a pint and talk it over. So it was on in the background. So I wasn't actually watching how good of a game it was, and I saw the red card, the first one of Romero, was it? So I just seen it, and at first he kind of, I look up for my pint, he gets the ball at first, and I've kind of looked away or something, and I went, it looked harsh that, didn't it? And my dad was like, fucking... Wow. So I've just tweeted saying, bit unlucky there, Tottenham. And normally, like, I'll tweet and you get the odd response. But in, like, a minute, like, 10 or 15 people are you messing?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I think I need to actually watch this again.
Yeah.
And I did watch it again, and then I just joked and said, oh, my dad, you know, said it wasn't, and made a bit of a joke about it. I'm not going to completely come back on myself, but at what point he does get the ball first?
Romero is as much a liability to Tottenham though as
that's the problem, though. Yeah, but that's the problem, right? You're judging his past on that one instant.
No, I'm judging his general conduct when it comes to like big
that's what
games.
I mean. Yeah,
he always gets
a yellow.
He always gets himself into a position where he's in jeopardy. Like he's leaving it in the hands of if you don't make.
But the ball's flying away. He gets the ball.
But he would have got sent off before that.
I know. Yeah, but
he should have got sent off before that. In fact.
But maybe that's in the ref said then. But I just think, and I know I'm in the minority for saying this, but it's like, it's
idiotic, mate. It's idiotic.
But he gets the ball.
I was fuming enough with Ashley Young in the derby, but he's only made 2 challenges. He'd made a challenge before that should have been a red card, and to fly in the way he did again, you're just leaving it in the hands of the referee. You can't appeal that. There's no way you're appealing it because you're never going to get it overturned.
Yeah.
Because it's so aggressive and so out of control.
It's aggressive, yeah.
It's out of control though as well.
Well, he gets the ball though, don't he, first? So it's not out of control.
It's out of control. He can't. If he injures, I can't remember the player it was. If he injures him, whoever it was, he couldn't have prevented that. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I just think
it was a mad game. Anyway, wasn't it?
It was a mad game.
It literally did have Everton in. One thing that was really funny though as well on the back of it, you just mentioned the refereeing. It was Gary Neville come out and said something like, you know, about it, some of the fouls or something, and someone's tweeted like on the thread and said, "Oh, the irony," and it was a 10-minute highlight, and I don't normally watch Gary a 10-minute thing. No, honestly, you need to watch it. I'll retweet it so you can have a look. But it was the game Man United Arsenal. At Old Trafford, I'm talking
that was ridiculous. The one where Keown and Van Nistelrooy are like
no, it's peak kind of Fergie influence on referees, and it's when Rooney dives on Sol Campbell. Sol Campbell pulls his leg back and Rooney basically dives. There is a 10-minute highlight, right, of them booting fuck out of Reyes. Remember him? He's passed away now, hasn't he?
Jose Antonio Reyes, yeah.
Booting fuck out of him, right? Some of the fouls, right? Oh, there's that Freddie Ljungberg's through on goal. Rio Ferdinand just comes, takes him out. Not even a foul. You've got Gary Neville booting the fuck out of Reyes. He does it 4 times before he gets booked. Van Nistelrooy puts his studs down Ashley Cole's knee, right down, not even booking on. Ashley Cole's tracking back, right? Clips, as in, you know, when they're running, like legs come together, yellow card. It is mad.
What was the point? What was Gary Neville saying?
Just saying about, they shouldn't do this to referees, and you just see Gary Neville every minute going,
he was horrible at that. He was horrible at referees.
It was just mad to think like how the referee and out to back then. Don't get me wrong, United were in the pump and I hated them anyway, but it was mad to see just how bad it used to be at Old Trafford with refs. So the point being to this though, is the whole VAR and is it gonna, you know, what's it doing to the game? There's always been issues. I just think what we're talking about are different issues, aren't we? It's still, we used to talk about the human bias, if you like, and this and that. Now we're talking about it taking too long. I just think there's always gonna be.
And it's always magnified in the early stages, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because there's more intense pressure. Every single thing is scrutinised. You say you go back and you look at that one particular game, and you scrutinise every single decision. That referee would probably be in League 2 the following week because the amount of
lad, he'd be sacked. He'd be gone for good, lads. It's horrendous. But then you had on the back of it, which will bring me on to Arsenal. You had Spurs manager Postecoglou coming out and basically he's looking like the Mr. Good guy now, isn't he? I think he's seeing all the shit Arteta's got himself in by being a hypocrite, and Big Ange just come out and was like, listen, referees are humans, they make mistakes. I'd never, back in my day, you know, I'd never back chat to a referee, and some have gone my way over the years, some have gone against me. It is what it is type thing.
As a lot of people have said, which is think what you're getting at. It's easy to say that when you're in that moment, isn't it? And there's no real pressure on you. You've just come off the back of a run that was bound to end at some point, and it's probably ended almost in the best way possible because you've had 2 men sent off, and it's like we had 9 men.
What else were we meant to do?
Yeah, we got beat with 9 men,
and he's gone out on his shield by, you know, still playing, still attacking with only 9 men, and he's done all the right things for the fans, I think. to be like, look, we're still going to try and we're going to...
But it is a question, and it's been levelled quite a bit by other people, but I think it's quite an easy answer. If they would have been going into that game on a run of 10 games without a win, or 8 wins and 3 losses, would you have dared done what he done and ends up getting beat 4-1 by Chelsea, rather than getting maybe beat 2-1 with a like, last minute?
He's got enough credit in the bank so far that he's allowed to.
He's able to still toe that line,
And I think if you're further on down the season as well, you're in March, April and stuff, and it's...
You're looking at their injury list now. My God, have you seen how many
Spurs?
injuries they've got now? Yeah.
No.
Just off the back of that game, Van de Ven obviously goes off, Maddison goes off. The others he had, like Perisic.
Good, I'm glad, because I've been
there's
flying.
7 players, basically 7 players.
Richarlison's getting
Richarlison's
a few
injured,
months,
going out with surgery.
It's like 7 players, of which 5 of them would be in the first 11.
Then you've got the suspensions on top of that as well.
Yeah,
there's the space.
There was 5 goals disallowed in that game as well. Did you see Dyer's volley?
Crazy.
Oh my word, what a finish that was.
Mad game, and I just think it was interesting on like to the refereeing thing.
It'll be interesting as well now to see, because fair play to Paul Merson for obviously calling that. He's a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
I still can't get my head around the fact Paul Merson's a Chelsea fan.
Given his Arsenal. Yeah.
I only realised it. I only knew it 6 months ago or something. Yeah, in fact, I knew from when I read his book, but that was the least most interesting thing in that book. But he obviously called the fact that he thought Chelsea were going to go there and get a result. It'll just be interesting now to see if that does. Because as a Chelsea player, he's half walk off being relieved that you've won that game, rather than like...
Could have been embarrassing if they
Nicholas
didn't win.
Jackson, obviously, him getting a few goals is going to be big for his confidence, but it'll be interesting to see now if that does inject a bit of belief into them, or whether they just think, well, we were playing against 9 men now.
And also now Spurs, with the defeat and all that, see how they react as well.
And with the injuries,
and which brings then on to other managers, Arteta, who obviously didn't have VAR go the way he wanted. And it was very quickly brought up that when he was quizzed about it after the Liverpool-Tottenham thing, he was like very much, listen, refs get it right, they get it wrong, we need to support them.
Embarrassing.
But like you've just said, it goes against them.
Is a disgrace.
People change, and change he did. He was fuming, wasn't he?
Crier.
He was fuming. And I don't know, it wasn't even nowhere near as bad as the Liverpool-Spurs one. I think when you look at the line like that, I don't even think the ball goes out for one.
I do think, though, it's put the whole thing under scrutiny, because if you look at it, and it even shows like the bird's eye view of it, it's like, that's not, how's that in? But then you look at it at another angle, it's like touching the line. If I'm playing in that game and that ball was in that position, I wouldn't say I'd stop, because you'd never stop without but you would be half thinking, that's out.
Do you know what I kept on thinking after it? How the hell did Liverpool's ghost goal against Chelsea get awarded? If the whole ball's got to be over the line, that was never a goal, was it?
No, it's different to the goal line, though, isn't it? Isn't it?
We didn't have goal line technology.
No, but isn't it different with the goal line anyway? Doesn't more of the ball have to be over the line?
No, the whole ball's got to be.
When goal line technology did come in, I remember Stones clearing one from us. And
Man City
basically cost us the league.
Yeah,
okay.
Firmino scored, and it was like
millimetres.
It was something like 4 millimetres. It was.
I'd be surprised if you said that he changed the rules or something at that point, just to show you didn't win the league.
No, so the whole ball's got to go over the line, and because I remember seeing the thing for like Musk just said against Man City.
I just think in that instance, and I think it's mad, including me, that I didn't believe it was that much of a. It had to be fully over it. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that's an example of making the game more difficult for the officials and the players. Like if you see that, and if it's Sunday League footy or whatever, you see that, that's out, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's out of play. Nobody's saying that isn't out of play if it's just a human looking at it. And a linesman is always going to wave. If a linesman standing a yard away from that ball, they're going to flag, aren't they, and say that's out of play. They would.
But the other thing is, you play to the whistle. They should have just like carried on a bit more and been a bit more alert to it. And I personally don't think it wasn't out. If you're going to go on the rules,
I think he's being
and it can't get overturned because it's not 100% definitely out. You can be 98% sure, but it's not clear and obvious then, is it?
And then I don't think it's a foul either in the box either. So I think Arteta was a bit like,
I've seen them given though.
Oh yeah,
that's why he'll be fuming.
Yeah, but if it was against them, he'd be, you know what I mean, as well. So I think he was, he made himself look like a bit of an idiot. But the other thing I'll say on the refereeing before we talk about him too much is, I just think that's been part and parcel of the game. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yes, sometimes they go for you, sometimes they don't. That whole thing of, the referee got it in for us, bastard. That's just kind of what it was. And I think these rules and all that, you know decisions though, they go, some of them you'll get a dozen who'll go for you throughout the season and a dozen will go against you. I remember you look at like Yerty Dudek in AC Milan. He was practically on the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Now, if we're going to go back, we wouldn't have... I still don't think Gerrard was fouled for the penalty. I'm glad he was given us a pen, but do you know what I mean? Things go for you.
That's just the game, and I know. I think you're right in what you're suggesting is that like people seem to just be erasing history from the memory and acting as though football was a perfect game until VAR come in.
Exactly.
I think it's a different problem.
Exactly. I think it's also come in with the fact that as that's come in, social media has played more of a role where someone can go, I'm going to drag that clip up because I know exactly when it was. Yeah. Whereas we go, remember when that happened? You go, I don't really remember that.
And you know the other one as well.
Everyone's got what they put on like,
it's a good point,
I've got the receipts. That's what they say on Twitter and all that.
The other one, as I've just demonstrated, I think a lot of people didn't realise that certain rules were as clear cut as they are. And like without VAR, you wouldn't be talking about that. Without VAR, that would have been out.
Yeah.
The whistles are gone, throw in, blah, 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 and no one was about... Because I don't believe for a second that the officials wouldn't have given that as out if they didn't know the VAR was kind of going to be able to check it. Do you know what I mean? Because you wouldn't have thought, you just thought that's out there. It looks more out than it is in.
So we had that, and keeping it just in the UK for a minute before we talk about Kane smashing it again. You had, and I heard Carragher comment on it, on Liverpool's game against Luton, the tragedy chanting, which... Although people have been warned, clubs have been warned, unfortunately still going on. Listen, I've heard that at Liverpool's ground, but I think when I've kind of, and this is years ago, I haven't heard it for a long time at Anfield, thankfully, it gets policed, I think, really well. Anytime I've kind of heard it or if something gets said in the situations I've been in, it gets policed very quickly. But clearly, and by the way, when I say I've witnessed it, I mean like the odd one person say something or shout something he shouldn't, it gets policed. Sometimes, and I'm probably because I'm a Liverpool fan, I hear it more. You know when you listen, if you're at home watching it on the telly, you can hear it. Like, so, you know, always your fault. All the same old Scousers. And you're like, it's. Do you know what I mean? It's. And I've never been like had a kind of personal investment in any of these tragedies, other than like I don't really even, apart from knowing the odd person who was there, I can't even imagine the hurt it would feel if you'd lost someone at one of these tragedies. You know what I mean? Or and it's
anger as well.
And it's still going on now. And I don't know how you police it. I don't know what the clubs do, what the police do, because we spoke about it quite a bit now, and it still goes on. So
you'll always get though as well. Like, I don't know what the chant was, but you'll always get them. Oh, we ain't talking about that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. We're talking about the fact he's moaning about like the governments and the fact you don't get the support. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe they were, you know. So I'm not saying they were, and I'm fairly certain they were doing it to get under people's skins, as some horrible football fans do. But yeah, it is.
What do you do though? Do you know what I mean? There's the whole thing about the Celtic have just banned, haven't they? The green.
Do you know what?
We were talking about that on Saturday,
do you know what I'd do? I'd put them. I wouldn't necessarily ban people. I'd put them under the microscope and out them and go. What, like almost say, there's a section of these fans that we've identified that were singing this song. Tell us what you were talking about.
Yeah.
So Stephen, I don't know if you follow Stephen Warnock on Instagram. He put it a message that he got sent in his inbox the other day.
Oh yeah.
From someone who followed him, basically saying you're Scouse rat and all that. And he was like, so he screenshot it, put it on a story, and then tagged the fella and went, "What are you on about? Like what was that for?"
Mad, isn't it?
And basically this fella started getting abused by everyone. What are you doing? Like 8 Scousers, blah blah. So then he replied to Stephen Warnock saying, really, really sorry about that. Don't know what I was thinking. Bit of a mad moment, but do us a favour, can you take it down off your story because I'm getting abused here.
He posted it again.
And he posted it again then.
Did he?
And then he said, and I was messaging him, I'm a fair play, mate. I said, because that's what needs to happen more. People think they can say things, shout things,
it's not accountable.
Message things, whether it's on social media or when they're in a crowd, and not be accountable for their actions. And like watch the minute that people do get exposed, they go to bits. So I think I don't know how possible that is, but I would commend the clubs now. I wouldn't say to stop banning people, because if people have done something that's completely bang on and they're obviously racist, or the violence or whatever, or it's But if it's something that's a little bit grey, but you're pretty sure that there's something untoward going on, just expose them.
I think on Sunday as well, though, it seemed like Not because obviously it wasn't all Luton fans, but the people who were singing it was like, it's a rite of passage. We get to do this now that we're in the Premier League.
Yeah,
it's kind of like some of them couldn't wait to be playing Liverpool to be able to do what other teams are doing.
It's just fucking sad, isn't it? Really,
it is really, yeah.
Onto some more lighter news then. This week, did you see in the Champions League the player who tried to swap shirts with Haaland at half time?
I didn't see it. I've heard about it.
It's, I think, so personally, right, and it always brings me back to a corporal I had in the Marines called Ben Novak.
I'll be fuming.
Just Scouser, and he held the record for being one of the fittest Marines in the commando courses, right? And he happened to be a Scouser. He's my hero. He unfortunately was passed away in Iraq, but like, what a legend he was, do you know what I mean? And it was his job in the Marines as our PTI to get us all fit. And his thing was, you know, you'd finish your run, and you know, when you're like, you're bending over and, and all that, he goes, stand up straight, shoulders back, chin up.
Showing weakness, you know, and stuff.
Exactly, showing weakness. He's like, I don't care how fucked you are, you know what I mean? You want to be a Marine, don't you? Stand. And I was like, I loved him for that. Like, show no weakness, right? Okay. So you take that kind of attitude mindset, which it took to be a Marine, and I'm guessing it takes to be a professional footballer. And then you see, oh, I've just been trying to stop you to score a goal, but oh, can I have your share because I think you're amazing? Fuck off.
Yeah, halfway through.
That's fucking embarrassing. I don't like.
No, I completely agree with that type of psychology though as well. I mean,
I'm not saying you're going to war, but you want to be. You know, you're playing against one of the best players in the world. You want to stop. You want to prove yourself.
You want to create any advantage or gain any edge you can.
Yeah.
The minute you're going to him, can I have your share? You're literally surrendering and going, you are better than me.
That's what Carragher said. I remember Carragher coming out and saying, I never would ask someone because I don't want to show that I idolise anyone, because out there it's me against him, and I need to show that
I want him to think.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I want him to think I'll do anything to not to hurt him, but to literally to get one over.
And I think if I'm a manager, right, watching that like a scout or something, and I wouldn't want that type of attitude in my team. He's potential. All right, yeah, young boys aren't going to go and win the Champions League, but he might end up getting a decent move.
Off.
But he could get a decent move, couldn't he? Do you know what I mean? And you think like, I personally wouldn't want that type of behaviour, attitude around my younger players. If he was a captain or something, do you know what I mean? It's like,
you can see sometimes people asking during the game, while the game's going on, you see players standing next to each other and you can kind of see them gesturing. Obviously, if they don't speak the same language or whatever, and like, the game's still going on.
Yeah.
Save all that until the very end, until you know what the outcome is of the game, and then you're not rivals anymore.
Yeah. No, yeah. At least we're all in agreement with that. Yeah. So to quickly round up before we go to the weekends of football, Man City might struggle. John Stones out with an injury. Just starting to get a bit of form, being back in the side, and he's out again. I'm actually just, again, Liverpool have got a bit of luck here. Obviously, saying here about the results of the weekend, where Liverpool lucky with the Spurs and Arsenal dropping points, as Liverpool did as well. I think you just mentioned there about Spurs injuries. City got a couple. Things seem to go.
City going to be okay, aren't they?
Well, you say that. I think they've missed De Bruyne though.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. They missed De Bruyne, yet they're still.
But then as soon as Rodri came back in, it was like bang.
Yeah, back in. Yeah, well, but anyway, Stones is out. On City though as
clutching
well.
Here.
I am clutching.
Stones is out. Big news.
No, on the whole, cause I do think it gets to this part of the season now, doesn't it? And I think this is where it starts heating up. You know, you're getting into November, December, and you're in with a shout a bit. Not, but you know what I mean. You're in the mix. You can almost. What's that saying? Fergie said, you know, you don't win the league and whatever, but you can lose it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But on City, I think you had a bet of them at the weekend, if I remember rightly. Girona, top of La Liga, and these are part of the City group. You know what I mean? Which is mad in that whole thing. I mean, you've done your best to try and explain about how these infrastructures work with players and stuff like that. I personally think it's dodgy as fuck, but that's another whole debate.
Okay, well, on Girona, just to a bit of context, I put it in there because it's interesting. Girona are past the City group. They're now top of La Liga, which is incredible. More incredible as they've hardly spent any money. And they haven't been giving, as you were probably suggesting, they haven't been given players from other City group teams. They've done it by investing in the youth system and trying to get a way of playing and sticking to the principles. They play good footy. You watch them, they're not City, but you know what I mean? They're playing the right way. They're not lumping the ball forward and stuff, as you'd imagine from a team within that group. They're playing a brand of football. It's very Spanish, but again, very they're very committed to that style of football. And I mean, there's levels still. They played Real Madrid and got beat 3-0 at home, and it was pretty convincing. But they're managing to beat all of the weaker teams, whereas because you got Madrid and Barcelona and Atletico that have got mixed commitments at the Champions League and whatever, they're dropping the odd point here and there. They're just cracking on. I think they've won 9, drew 1, lost 1. So they're playing really well. But I think what is interesting and probably worth thinking about, and it'll be more interesting as the season goes on and the profile of these players as individuals starts to rise and the stock rises. If other Premier League teams start sniffing over these, is it going to be, hold on, don't be selling them to Liverpool?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
100%.
the City get first refusal.
Of course they will.
Players, then, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah.
Of course they will. And I know you say they haven't, but I'd be surprised to look at the players they've got in and out though.
The way that Red Bull done it, and this is the bit that City got a bit jealous of. They've got Salzburg and Leipzig. Salzburg is literally just a production line for Leipzig. The minute you've proven yourself at Salzburg, you go to Leipzig. If you're struggling at Leipzig, you go back to Salzburg. City were going, we haven't really got that. So now you potentially got a team in this probably the second best league in Europe, maybe along with the Bundesliga. The second best league in Europe behind the Premier League.
Where they can cut the teeth.
Yeah. Interesting.
Fucking cheating as fuck, I say. Do you know what I mean, though? It's like having your reserves on steroids. Do you know what I mean?
There's nothing stopping you.
No, I know there's nothing stopping it, but I'm saying ordinarily a team would go, you know what, he's you know, in the under 18s or what would be like under 21s a reserve type thing. Oh yeah, he's decent. Oh, let's see what he's like. City have just went one better and we're going to get an actual team. We'll just blood them in an actual proper competition and then we'll get them.
It gets interesting, obviously, if Girona do qualify for the Champions League, that's when it becomes... So if Salzburg got drew against... I don't think they can play against Leipzig.
Because it's conflict of interest.
Yeah, I don't think that can happen. So that
fucking dodgy as fuck.
Yeah, it could be. It could be if it starts going down that. But I think it'll be something to keep an eye on. If Girona, even if they fall away now, there's a few players in that team now that are proving themselves to probably be... But
I might actually do this on my way home. I want to look into their players though, because there'll be some...
Oh, there'll be some links there.
There'll be 100%. There'll be links, and it might not be from Man City. It'll be from some of the other teams they've got in the City group and etc.
But Fergie used to do that though. Fergie used to give certain players to his son's team and certain players
and
Chelsea, to Everton.
Chelsea done it under Mourinho and whatever, where they loans out like 20 odds of the players. And I remember at one point it was in the Dutch league. Oh my god. Not Willem, someone like that anyway. There was one of the teams lower down the Dutch league, and they had about 7 Chelsea players at one point that were either on loan or been sold to them. But then one of them got sold back to Chelsea, and it was just like they'd done it without Owen in the club, but they just had to deal with them. Liverpool done it in the past with Crew years ago in the 90s.
Yeah, Danny
used
Murphy.
to always have players that go to Crew, or so if one of your players was weekend, it still happens now. And this was what we were told the City group last time. It still happens whether you own the clubs or not. You'll have deals with certain lower league clubs and said, tell you what, you can have first dibs in our cast-offs, but the minute you get a good player, we're having them. Yeah. The academies have done it for years as well. I think
why I sound like an idiot to anyone who's not a Liverpool fan is I think because it's happening to our main rivals, City. Because
it's affecting us, and now it's an issue.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's just because it's just on a scale. It's just on a massive scale.
Because we can't get players from that one team.
Yeah,
because we haven't got first dibs.
I'm just making myself...
I'm not happy.
I just make myself sound like a knob now, so I'm going to stop. Right, we'll finish off just looking at this weekend then. Palace at home to Everton. Palace at home to Everton. Liverpool at home to Brentford. Brentford only lost 1 in the last 5. And Liverpool...
looking for reasons that justify a slip-up already.
Yeah, and Liverpool obviously want to put the Luton game behind them. Confident then about Palace? I think that's tricky. Yeah, I was going to say tricky
place to go. We again to plug our podcast. We had an opposition fan on yesterday.
This buried the pod when you always mention this is always determines whether I put Everton in my bet or not.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it this week.
No, do you not?
I mean, it was interesting that the chat. I haven't listened to it yet. They only recorded it today, which is Wednesday. This is going out on Friday. And their fan, one of the questions Millsy asked them, which was quite an interesting one, he said, where do you see yourselves versus Everton? Do you see yourself as an Everton, or are you better than that? He said, no, I don't think we're involved in a relegation crap. I think we're pushing to get into the top 10, whereas you are still trying to stay in the league. Mills didn't argue with that. He was like, fair enough, the last season's position, and to a certain extent this season's position almost vindicates that. He was saying, look, if I was to speak to Everton fans, I'd say focus on your club at the moment, rather than chasing trophies and whatever.
Yeah.
You need to get your club stable and blah blah. We've been through that. But in essence, they were saying, or Pals were saying, 1-0 win. They think they'll grind a victory out. Millsy reckons a draw. He thinks, based on the way we've been playing and the way the Palace play, it'll be a decent match for them. And again, that's why I say these podcasts are quite good, because it does give you that confidence going into the game, or it makes you think, actually, the way they're looking at it's probably making us think twice about it.
Yeah, I can't see us winning. I could see a draw.
Tough side to beat, aren't they?
Yeah, a draw or a Palace victory. What I think is interesting for us as Reds is it's the first game I can think of this season where we haven't played great. Do you know what I mean? As in, we didn't play great. It was Chelsea, wasn't it? And Brighton, was it, I think, as well?
Brighton away,
yeah. But I think that this game, Brighton away, that was difficult. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like a crazy result.
And it was an improvement on last season, Brighton away. So
exactly.
Sean Zaich's Everton.
I think Chelsea again going away, a draw, not the worst thing.
No, it was a disgrace. No.
Going away to Luton though and drawing, but playing like we could have played for another 180 minutes. Could have played for another 90 minutes and we wouldn't have scored. I don't think. This is going to be interesting how the bounce back, because how are we going to react?
Brentford are so up and down as well. Obviously, they went and beat Chelsea the other week, but then they were poor against us when we beat them. You never really know what you're going to get from Brentford. I think they're more than capable of matching most of the top sides, but on other days they can just fold. Yeah,
so I think we'll get the 3 points, but I can imagine the price for the bookies will be awful as well, because we're at home. And I'm not as confident as probably to suggest.
There's no value in
the price that they'll get given. Yeah. Expect 3 points, but I'm just more excited to see how we're gonna come out the blocks. Do you know what I mean? Because I think he does need the reaction after that.
Do you think Nunez starts again? Do you think Klopp's way would be, let's put him back in and let's get him a goal? And
it'd be good to see what the lineup would be for the Toulouse game. Obviously, again, that's tomorrow. Yeah. So that would.
He hasn't played hasn't started as much in the Europa League, has he? Nunez?
No, it's more of a Gakpo type.
Yeah.
Who I don't massively rate, by the way.
But that's what I was saying before about what's the.
No, he reminds me of, by the way. And I didn't think this, because when he first got him, I thought that's a great signing, because of his form in Eredivisie and decent in the World Cup as well. He's starting to remind me of Babel, Ryan Babel. It's a bit like him. He's like got all the tools. Every now and again he just does something boss, but then it's just like dead patchy.
I think as well, he's tall. I didn't realise he was that tall.
Babel was tall, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
He doesn't really look like
I think as well he hasn't really got an identity in the team yet. And I know that we've had him for a good while now, but it's still like he might sometimes drop in. He might sometimes play the 9.
Again, buying Babel again.
Yeah.
He's sometimes playing the wing. He's like, oh yeah.
But if he's getting asked to have different hats on for different games, then
that's what Klopp expects of his players, isn't it, to be honest.
But I think though, you can either have in that role when he had Mane and Salah, and you had Bobby in the middle. Bobby was happy to not get goals and be a bit of a magician. I think the other, when Bobby goes, you throw Jota in the middle. Now, Jota's not going to link up the play like Bobby did, but he's just a bit of a goal machine, Jota. And you're putting Gakpo in, who doesn't link the play up like Bobby. He's not a goal machine like Jota. He's just a bit like...
Sorry, it just reminds me. Have you seen... I'm laughing at you when you were saying Bobby Firmino. Have you seen that Mike Dean clip?
No.
Where he's talking about VAR and the suggestion that you should put an ex-pro in there. And he was going, should we put an ex-pro in the VAR room? Firmino. And it's like Firmino, and they're saying Bobby Firmino, and it's got a picture of Bobby Firmino sitting there.
Firmino, no. Yeah. Right, we'll wrap up there. Thanks everyone for listening. Don't forget, if you want the betting tips, sign up on Patreon now. It's £1 a week, and also you get access to the show me and Gary do on a Wednesday, and also Kieran Malone's property tips and advice. Have a boss weekend, and we'll see you soon.